Hi, I'm Christopher the Bronze Age Nerd, and you're watching Bronze Buys. Alright, so first up this week, I have to acknowledge the coolest thing that's happened to the channel in a long time. The channel got its very first AOK. This comes from Johnny over at Dream of August Comics. He sent me the deluxe hardbound edition of Berserk. This is volume 1. I hadn't read it. We were talking about it backstage at one of the live shows we did, and he said, dude, you got to check it out. I can't wait to talk to you about it. And he decided to send me this first copy, which is awesome. Johnny, I can't wait to get started reading this and talk to you about it. Thank you so much. All right, so next we have a shipment that came from Canada. This is from Comix Kingdom of Canada. This is Spider-Man Miles Morales number 25. This ended up becoming kind of a key issue here because it was the first appearance of some Miles clones. We all know what happened with the original Spider-Man clone saga, so definitely a key issue you might want to be on the lookout for if you can still find copies. This is the Inyuk Lee cover, and it was part of a set, so this is the trade dress. Next up, we have a shipment from Eastside Comics. Eastside Comics had some really cool stuff this go around. This is the Mike Mayhew cover for Star Wars The High Republic number 5, and this was another set, so you have the trade dress, as well as the Virgin, and this is the first cover appearance of this character, who I just want to point out has a really sweet lightsaber. I really dig it. It kind of reminds me of Kylo Ren's 3-bladed lightsaber, and thought this might be an interesting character. Always cool to get a first cover appearance of important Star Wars characters. All right, Robin number 1 was a double key first appearance of a couple new characters, and this one kind of snuck under some people's radar, and I thought this was a cool exclusive. Not only that, this Talia al Ghul cover does come in as my booty cover of the week. And I did get a couple of Warren Liu or Warren Lau. I'm not exactly sure if that's the correct pronunciation. If you know, let me know down in the comments below. But I got a couple covers by him too. I really dig his artwork style. This is a Punchline number 1 special he did. And I was happy to secure this homage to Batman Adventures number 12, the first appearance of Harley Quinn. This is the Warren Lau take on that cover, and just a fantastic homage cover. So this next shipment I got was from Third Eye Comics, and I want to give a special shout out to somebody who watches the channel, Kimberly Craft. She pointed out in one of the Discords that I belong to that Third Eye Comics was selling this. This is kind of an interesting comic. Bad Idea has done some really weird viral marketing kind of stuff. This comic was only available for 1 day, and it only cost $1. And people were really scrambling to try to find it. Really just kind of a weird story, weird one-shot kind of thing. And people are already on the hunt for this comic, so I was really happy to get a copy. And again, thanks for pointing out that that was coming out and that Third Eye Comics was selling it online. That's always helpful. These Bad Idea comics are super hard to find. All right, so this next pickup comes from a shop that I really want to give a special shout out to. This is from Sanctum Tattoos and Comics. Frankly, I'd never heard of the shop before, but they showed up under the comics for sale tag on IG, and there's no way I could pass up this comic. They had a newsstand copy of G.I. Joe number 1 for a killer price. Picked it up. I think that with a good clean and press, which I'm going to send it off for, this is like a 9.6 contender with a newsstand. I can't argue with that. Definitely going to have fun checking out how well this does at the graders. And I just wanted to give them a special shout out on how they shipped this comic. They did a really good job. They even wrote instructions inside the packaging on how it should be opened, which sounds like a small thing, but there's a lot of ways that these places ship that you have no idea how you're supposed to open something safely and what the comic book looks like inside that packaging. And, you know, they put arrows, please open this outer bag first, that kind of stuff. That really went a long way towards making sure that this important key got opened safely. And I appreciate that little extra touch that they did. Really cool shop. Thank you so much for the help, and yo Joe. So after being continually frustrated with Comics Elite and how they've shipped comics, I was really happy when Billy over at Economics and Comics opened his own store. He packs stuff super carefully. He has a really good eye for rejecting bad comics that are lower grade and getting replacements, and he has a killer price. So I started ordering some pre-order stuff from him. This was his Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters prequel pack he had up on his site. I grabbed this. It had a few cool comics in it with some great Boba Fett covers. I think this Fiery McNiven cover is really cool. And here we start getting to what really caught people's eye about this comic is Boba Fett. Turns out he has a brand new set of armor. It's all black. It's a really sleek look, has a very menacing look to it. And this is another McNiven cover showcasing that black armor, and the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant with that black armor as well. And here's that final variant that was included in that pack. And finally in the shipment, here's the Qua variant for Marvel's #1. This was another thing that ended up coming out kind of last minute. People learned that it's a double key with a couple first appearances in it. So this is a really sweet cover. Love the whole diner scene motif you have going on. It's really a neat thing. I love these kind of Where's Waldo style covers where there's just hundreds of characters on it. It's really neat to kind of look at. And I think this is going to end up being one of the better covers for Marvel's #1. I did want to give a special shout out to the Discord that I'm part of, Department of Comix. They kind of let you know about some really cool stuff going on, and they had a lot of cool news alerts for Star Wars Day on May 4th. This one came from Wanted Comics, and I've actually bought some stuff on eBay a long time ago from Wanted Comics, and I really enjoyed the experience, so I was more than happy to go check this out. They had some killer Star Wars variants for smoke and deals for Star Wars Day. This J. Scott Campbell cover variant for Star Wars #1 was one that I definitely had to grab because I'm a huge J. Scott Campbell fan. This Star Wars Darth Maul #1 is something that's definitely been shooting up for months now, and I can't believe they had copies of this available, so I definitely grabbed one of these too. They also have this ratio variant for Star Wars Darth Vader #1, and I was also shocked that they had any of these available. This was probably the most popular variant for Star Wars High Republic #1. This is the Hans variant with Yoda on the cover and Avar Kriss. Basically the reason that I ordered all the comics from them was because they had this. I was just super stoked to get another copy of this. And on top of all that, they threw in a freebie. This was the John Tyler Christopher multiple action figure variant. It's a Wanted Comics exclusive for Star Wars Vader Down #1. Really awesome that they threw in that Star Wars freebie for Star Wars Day. Thanks a lot, guys. So this was probably the weirdest little pickup that I'm going to showcase. This was really strange. I have one of those kind of dying malls near me that just has these weird little collections of stores and kind of has what I kind of call the equivalent of like a modern generation antique store in a way. Just kind of a nerd store. They have like video game, retro stuff. They have tabletop gaming, weird action figures. Just those things that draw on a lot of people from like my generation. I'm guessing a lot of you watching would walk into a store like this if you walked by it. But they had some comic books and I saw it from outside and decided to run in because that's specifically why I went to this mall. Things have been kind of reopening sporadically, and I knew there were some stores in this mall that did have comic books at one point, so I wanted to go see. I thought it might be a chance to find some stuff that's a little bit more off the beaten path, and I found a few hidden gems. They had mostly a lot of stuff that I wouldn't say is necessarily great finds, but I did find some cool stuff. So I do want to give a quick shout out to that store. It's called Northwest Outpost in Kelso, Washington. And the first cool thing I found is a copy of this Action Comics. This is actually the first time that Superman ever appears in the black suit, which was something that was a big part of the whole Snyder cut, was him appearing in the black suit. So maybe not the most opportune time to grab this, but it is a first appearance for a Superman costume that is a fan favorite costume, and I paid $1 for it. So I'm super happy about that. Longtime watchers of the channel know that I do collect these Marvel Anniversary Border comics. Most of them, like I've said several times on this channel, are not very valuable. This copy of Avengers is not really a big exception to that rule. But hey, I collect the borders, and I found a couple that were harder to find, ones that I've never seen in comic shops before, so I was happy to grab this one. This was definitely the find of the whole trip to this particular store. I'm not exactly sure where this falls in the pantheon of Damian Wayne first appearances. I know there's a few keys that people collect for Damian Wayne. It's probably a good idea just to grab all those. But this is the first time that you see Damian Wayne as Batman in kind of a future flash forward kind of a thing. And this is also the first full appearance of Professor Pig. This is Batman 666, kind of a cool numbered issue and a long run like that too. So they definitely decided to have some fun with it, with the kind of fiery flames on the cover and sort of evoking some satanic imagery. Pretty sweet, but I was super happy to find this. This is not a comic that I expected to find in the wild these days. Most of these things are probably something that people are holding on to or sending off to CGC to get graded. So definitely happy to grab this one. All right, and yeah, I got another one of those Anniversary Border comics. This is Cloak and Dagger #9, a comic that has no significance to me whatsoever other than it's one of those comic books that came out that month with that specialty border, and I grabbed this one too. So every single comic from the whole Weapon X Marvel Comics Presents run has definitely started to heat up. There's people that are going after the whole run. When I saw this comic book just sitting in the bin, definitely had to make sure I grabbed this one. Sure, I wish it was the first appearance of the Weapon X program in Marvel Comics Presents, but I won't complain about finding this thing for 50 cents. I also snagged this copy of West Coast Avengers #1, and this is actually the first appearance of the Silver Centurion armor for Iron Man, which is kind of a fan favorite armor of his. and one of the ones that I really enjoy, so grab this one too. Sometimes it's funny how things work. I had just seen on somebody's Instagram, I can't for the life of me remember who it is. If you happen to be watching, or if you saw this person's Instagram with this comic on it, let me know. I'm really curious who that was that posted this. But I didn't realize that there was a Mike Mignola cover for X Factor out there. They'd posted this one for a Mutant Monday post. And I had just seen it and like, oh, that was pretty cool. And then saw it in a bin and had to grab it because Mike Mignola art is really sweet. You don't get to see it in Marvel too often. So it was really cool to grab an X Factor cover for Mike Mignola. So I'm gonna try to blaze through this pretty fast. Comix Elite has been taking their sweet time sending stuff out, and it's mostly not their fault. There have been a lot of delays on the stuff that gets pre-ordered. But basically I got like 3 orders from Comix Elite at the same time from stuff that had been backlogged, and I'm just gonna blaze through it. This is the two-tone Amazing Spider-Man cover. This is the trade dress for the John Boy Myers Batman 108, which is the first full appearance of Miracle Molly. In addition to that, I also grabbed 2 of the minimal trade dress covers for the John Boy Myers variant. Batman Catwoman number 4. And this is the conclusion to the Batman White Knight presents Harley Quinn, which is that kind of alternate reality Harley Quinn character. I thought that character might have some legs to her. We don't know if there's going to be some time where she's going to cross over to the main DC continuity. So I picked up an issue of the entire series for this particular run. So remember when I said these were delayed? Well, last week you watched me unbox the copy of Black Knight Curse of the Ebony Blade number 2. Well, here's Black Knight Curse of the Ebony Blade number 1. Got Captain Marvel number 27. I grabbed this fantastic Jenny Frison Catwoman cover. Oh wait, she's upside down. There we go, now she's right side up. I snagged this copy of G.I. Joe number 280, and I grabbed multiple copies, and I grabbed multiple covers for this Harley Quinn number 1 relaunch that is volume 4. Snagged this cover too, and definitely my favorite cover from any of the Harley Quinn number 1s, this one as well. So along with the launch of Invincible on Amazon Prime, they did this kind of reprint of Invincible number 1. So I grabbed 2 copies of this as well. And I got multiple copies of Justice League 59. There was some Naomi spec rumors around this one that may not have materialized, but we'll see if the long-term market finds any value for these. And a couple copies of the B cover as well. Rob Liefeld's been doing these 30th anniversary of Deadpool covers. So this is King in Black Amazing Spider-Man number 1, which is the Liefeld cover with Deadpool versus Venom, which I thought was pretty cool. I got 2 copies of Proctor Valley Road number 1, the Grant Morrison story. I love this blue cover for Radiant Black number 2. I grabbed 2 covers of this Bartel Women's History Month cover for Spider-Woman. I snagged 1 copy of Star Wars The High Republic 4th printing for number 1. And I grabbed one of the two-tone Strange Academy number 9 variants. The King in Black tie-in sword number 4. Got the Cho two-tone variant for Thor. And last but not least, the X-Force Liefeld Deadpool 30th anniversary variant. Thanks for following along on this episode of Bronze Buys. I just want to remind you that you can support the channel by donating to my Ko-fi if you choose to do so. I also want to remind you that I'd love to hear about what you picked up. So please comment down below with what you picked up for the week. I'd love to talk to you about what some of your favorite reads were or comics you like to speculate on. And I want to remind you, as always, hey, read comics every day.